Oh hey look, there's a disclaimer on the screen. So, if you are in the Roblox asym community in any capacity, you've probably heard of Pappo's recent review of Roblox asyms. The reaction was negative, to say the least. It's quite impressive how he's managed to unite the usually divided community to one cause, and that cause is to hate on the video. The first main section of the video is about Forsaken, and Pappo describes his grievances towards the game. I wanted to throw my hat into the ring as somebody with a decent amount of playtime on the game and go through why the section was pretty bad and unresearched. I won't be going through the rest of the video because Pappo talks about other games that I either haven't played at all or have very little playtime in. Unlike him, I prefer talking about topics that I'm actually educated on. If you're interested in people reviewing the rest of Pappo's video, I will link their videos in the description. Now, onto the review.
I need to make it clear, I am heavily biased. I hate this game. This video is entirely my own opinion, but before we continue, I feel the need to reiterate that. My words are my own. My opinion is my own. And my own opinion is that I fucking despise this game.
Okay, strong start. I'm going to use this as a chance to briefly mention Pappo's tone for his video. He's very cynical and negative, not only while talking about Forsaken, but also while talking about the other games as well. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have a cynical tone, but I bring this up because it makes the video feel like it wasn't made in good faith. It doesn't feel like a true criticism. It just feels like he's going out and purposefully attacking these games for not very well justified reasons.
The gameplay loop is just Dead by Daylight, but worse.
I promise I'm not going to stop the video after every 3 seconds. We are starting off with such an awful take that I have to address it. Truthfully, I haven't played too much Dead by Daylight, only a few rounds. However, I think the only real and true similarity between DBD and Forsaken is that they are asymmetrical horror games. If you try and look for more similarities, you just end up circling back to the fact that they are asyms. There's one strong killer who has to kill everybody. Yeah, because it's an asym. There are many survivors whose goal is to run down the clock and do objectives. Yeah, because it's an asym. Due to this, I don't really think that Forsaken is just worse DBD really holds much weight. It's not a very fair comparison.
The issue is, doing it doesn't matter. If you go out of your way to do the objective, it doesn't unlock a win condition. The only reason there would or should be a goal in a game like Forsaken. Completing a task on a generator lowers the time of the round by a small amount, give or take a few seconds. And that's fine, I guess. Dead by Daylight still does it better, but it's better than nothing. It still doesn't give you a way to escape, but it lets you play the game for less time.
The thing is, generators do kind of unlock a win condition, which is decreasing the timer. The rounds are bound to the timer, and running it down means the survivors win. Completing all the generators knocks 70 seconds off the timer, a crazy amount which, if left unchecked by the killer, severely tilts the balance of the round in the survivor's direction. And I don't understand what you mean by DBD does it better. It is essentially the same idea between games, obviously altered to fit the individual game's playstyle. While I definitely think generators in Forsaken need a rework in their current state, it's certainly not because of the time they take off the rounds. It's the issue with XP and the money they give, incentivizing people to stay on the gens and ignore teamwork.
In practice, it doesn't do much when the killer adds time back to the round by doing their job and killing everyone.
If the game lets 70 seconds just be cut off the timer with no way for the killer to get it back, it would turn the survivor-sided game into a survivor-only game. Seriously, rounds would end in less than 2 minutes if you had a team of gen rushers.
And due to it being a mirage, most people don't bother engaging with the system in any way. Instead, their time is spent infinitely looping the killer or doing TikTok dances in the corner of the map.
Trying to say that people do not engage with the generator system is factually incorrect. While I was recording background footage for this video, I was playing Slasher and came across a guest sitting on a gen, not getting off even though I was definitely near enough for him to hear the blasting Milestone 4 Slasher theme. After embarrassingly missing my gashing wound, don't bring that up again, he naturally gets off the generator. Okay, what do you think he would do here? He's surrounded by his team and he's a sentinel, while the killer is here, so naturally you'd expect he would help out, charge me away, or try to block. If you thought that, you'd be absolutely wrong, because he literally just gets back on the gen. Generators are a big issue in Forsaken, but not because people don't do them. People are too obsessed with them, and you want to try and say people don't do generators in any capacity? I won't try to deny there is an issue with some players just emoting in the corner of the map, but usually they do that after finishing all the generators.
Forsaken's identity is very disjointed.
Okay, this is a valid point. Maybe he will talk about the issues with skins being inconsistent with the aesthetic the game is trying to create. Let's see where he goes with this.
The roster of this game is either based off of old Roblox properties or are my awesome cool OC that everyone loves. Said OCs just happen to have more complicated movesets or are fucking terrible to play against.
Okay, not where I was expecting him to take that point, and I wouldn't say it's a very good one. Yes, you can definitely argue that the original characters have special attention from the devs, but it feels like a really basic point. First of all, Taff is an OC, and certainly not complicated. He says that everybody loves these OCs. In a game sense, this is not true, as Veronica probably appears in the nightmares of people who main killers with slow movement speeds, especially Slasher. In a lore sense, it's still not true, because canonically the Survivor cast think Two-Time is a creepy weirdo. Nosferatu not being great to play against is fair enough, but personally, I would disagree, considering his kinda recent nerfs have made him much more manageable to go up against.
Or Elliot, who has a pizza and a speed boost.
The tone he uses here is clearly trying to imply that the characters who are not OCs are more basic. While that is true, I'm struggling to understand why this is a problem. To have a split of complex and simple characters is a part of basic game mechanics. If every character was complex, the game would be a nightmare for new players. But if every character was simple, it would be too boring. Just because the more complex characters are the developers' OCs is not an inherently bad thing.
And a second life that lets you set your spawn point at the beginning of the round. To make up for it, they're balanced by having only 80 health. But actually, who gives a fuck about balancing because you get 20 health back by hitting a backstab?
2x balancing has been a thorn in Forsaken's side since as long as 2x has had the ability to stab. If Pappo was making this point about 2x being unbalanced maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I would 100% agree. However, in almost every update, 2x has received nerfs, the most important being their wind-up nerf in December, and the more recent nerf that, during LMS, the health gained on respawn relates to how much ablation they had, meaning no ablation meant no buffs. 2x is in their most balanced state right now. Just to clarify, 2x can still hit some diabolic backstabs and is not necessarily fair, but you tell me which one is more balanced, 2x on release or 2x now. Saying 2x is unbalanced without any further explanation is simply poor research, because 2x right now is honestly the best they've ever been.
Keep in mind Elliot has the same amount of health and is actively a detriment to both the player and the team they are a part of. There is power creep in Forsaken.
Okay. Elliot and 2x have the same amount of health, but this is not because they are similar in any way. 2x has low health because they can self-heal, while Elliot has it because he is a support, being able to heal other people. In no way is Elliot, of all the supports, hell, of all the characters, you could have said, a detriment. He is the only survivor who can heal other people. A heal that scales with the number of gens completed, by the way.
And due to it being a mirage, most people don't bother engaging with the system in any way.
So to the team he is undeniably useful. He's also not detrimental to the player, because Rush Hour is literally just a free distance maker that can be activated with no drawbacks. Also, are we sure about that power creep thing? Power creep is when newly released characters are almost objectively more powerful than older characters. Not only does power creep just not exist in Forsaken, but trying to say that 2x power creeps Elliot, when Elliot is up there as one of the best survivor, is baffling to me.
But in practice look like they were drawn by a 12-year-old on Tumblr. These are supposed to be the same character.
First of all, Tumblr artists caught astray. Anyways, Saying that Forsaken's Guest 666 and the Roblox version of Guest 666 shown are the same character is true, yes, but misleading. I won't try and deny that they are technically the same character, doing that would be genuinely false. But Forsaken's Sixer is not supposed to be the same as the Robloxian representation of Guest 666. Instead, Sixer is an interpretation of the myth. So this is kind of a weird point to me.
It's fine though, because you don't play Forsaken because you like the game. You don't play it because the gameplay is good. You play it because you have an unhealthy infatuation with real people.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it could get worse, but it could, and it did. After saying this interesting statement, Pappo goes on to describe how Shedletsky is a real person, and this persona of him is being drawn in ship art and stuff like that. Immediately, this point is almost completely invalidated by the fact that there will always be weirdos in a fandom, and attacking a game because the fandom is bad is the lowest possible form of criticism. The Shedletsky in the game is not the real Shedletsky, it's just a character. Yes, a character that once represented a real person, but the real Shedletsky has played Forsaken himself and is completely cool with it. To say that the game is bad because people draw Shedletsky with a bit of weight is definitely an argument you could make. I won't deny that there are bad actors in the fandom, but I myself am a part of that fandom, and most of the people here are just trying to have fun. This video is clearly trying to be a criticism of the game. To lump the fandom in there as well, then point and laugh, is just a low, completely unnecessary blow.
Forsaken is heavily monetized. During the Halloween event, there was a killer that would take you multiple weeks to unlock using the in-game currency. But if you were to spend real-world money to skip the grind, it would cost a minimum of 60 USD. I find that atrocious, especially when the killer was brought to the base shop less than a month later. The killer, mind you, being incredibly broken.
Admittedly, it is fair to say that Nosferatu was too expensive during the Halloween event. Sukars were not generous enough, and I definitely remember having to grind to get enough for him. And yes, it is also fair to say that he was broken when he first came out, because, well, he kinda was. However, I disagree with the further point, as the community was told Nosferatu was coming to the normal game shop after the event. If people didn't want to grind for Sukars, they could just wait for him to release there. This is not atrocious as you describe, because in no way was Nosferatu profiting on the fear of missing out. The fact he came to the in-game shop less than a month later was actually a good thing, so the people without enough Sukars didn't have to wait very long. And again, Nosferatu is in a much better place now balancing-wise.
There is also an enormous amount of skins, most of which being references to pre-existing media. It's designed so if the player recognizes something they like, they will be more inclined to either continue playing or to spend money. They recognize their favorite character, and they want to show their appreciation for their special interest. There's nothing inherently wrong with cosmetics. You're allowed to make money off of your product. I just wish the customization wasn't lazy. I wish it was unique, instead of feeding into the pre-existent love of their players.
When he said there are a lot of skins from different media, he was so close, so close. All you need to do is link it back to the point about Forsaken's identity, then you have a good argument. But then he misses. Why is it a bad thing for a player to keep playing a game when they see something they like? Is that not why players play anything? Because they like it? I truly don't understand the point he's trying to get across by implying developer teams adding skins that the fans like is a bad thing. Also, the grind for cash is not bad at all. If you are forking over real-life money for Forsaken cash, there is something wrong with the person, not the game. And would you look at that, we've reached the end of the video. Ultimately, my making of this video is not to incite mass hate towards Pappo. He's made a bad video, but obviously that doesn't mean he should be bombarded with hate comments. While in the process of writing this video, I discovered that Pappo has unlisted the original video and released a statement about the whole thing. He's going to change some things about the original video, quote, fixing his thoughts on what he failed to do rather than remake the whole video. He also said he still agrees with the points that he made, they just need to be presented differently. Personally, I am fully on board with him trying the video again. I won't hold the previous attempt against him if he is going to acknowledge his mistakes. However, I must admit I am interested to see how he will say his points differently, especially about Forsaken. Clearly he doesn't like the game, which is completely fine, but as we have discovered in this video, some of the points he made were just wrong. I don't want to see anything he makes fail, all I hope is that he just does a bit of research this time. Anyway, that's all I've got to say. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed watching. Bye now!